July 1863. The quiet farmlands of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, were no longer peaceful. The air, thick with the smell of smoke and iron, trembled with the roar of cannons. This was the heart of the Civil War, and the green fields were now scarred landscapes of conflict. In a small farmhouse, nestled near the battle line, slid 14-year-old Clara Thompson. Crouched behind the barn, she clutched a tin lantern, its small flame a stark contrast to the fiery orange glow that lit up the hills. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "Stay inside, Clara. It's not safe." But Clara couldn't. Through the din of battle, she heard something else, faint cries for help drifting from the fields. Men were out there, hurt and alone in the darkness. Her heart pounded in her chest. Looking from the ominous glow of the horizon to the small, steady flame in her hand, she whispered to the night, "Someone has to go." Taking a deep breath, Clara pushed open the heavy barn door and stepped into the smoky abyss. The night air was heavy, tasting of gunpowder and the coming rain. With her lantern held high, she navigated a world turned upside down. Broken fences trampled wheat, and the silent forms of fallen soldiers littered the ground. It was a scene of profound sorrow, a field of shadows where life had been brutally interrupted. She fought back tears. Her focus narrowed to one single purpose: finding someone who still needed help. Then, a low groan cut through the night. Close by, she swung the lantern, its beam cutting through the haze. There, leaning against a shattered wagon wheel, was a Union soldier, his face pale, his hand pressed tightly to his side. He was just a boy, not much older than her own brother, fighting somewhere far away. "Don't move," Clara said, her voice surprisingly steady. "I'll get you home." The soldier, Private Ellis Carter, managed a weak, pained smile. "You're just a kid." "Maybe," she replied, already kneeling beside him, "but I've got 2 good arms." Without a second thought, she tore a strip from her apron and pressed it against his wound to slow the bleeding. With a strength she didn't know she possessed, she hoisted him up, his arm draped over her shoulders. Every step was a struggle. The mud pulled at her boots, and the weight of the soldier was immense, but she pushed onward, her small lantern lighting their slow, agonizing path back to the safety of the barn. The barn door creaked open, and her mother gasped, her face etched with fear. "Clara, what have you done? You brought a soldier here. If the Confederates find him, we'll all be in danger." But Clara didn't have time for fear. She was already fetching a bucket of clean water and a cloth, her mind singularly focused on the task at hand. The hours bled together, marked only by the dwindling oil in her lantern. As the battle raged on in the distance, a strange peace settled inside the barn. She gently cleaned Ellis's wound, her movements deft and sure. "You'll be fine," she whispered, more to herself than to him. "You just need to hold on." Ellis watched her, his eyes filled with a weary gratitude. "Why?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Why are you helping me?" Clara paused, her gaze distant. "Because I'd want someone to help my brother, too. If he were out there." As dawn broke, a fragile quiet descended. The storm of battle had moved north. Through the barn's dusty window, Clara saw a column of Union soldiers marching past. Hope surged through her. Grabbing the Naughty lantern, she ran out, waving it frantically. "Sir?" "Over here. There's a wounded man." A weary-looking officer, Colonel Avery, stopped, his eyes following her gesture. He and 2 of his men followed her into the barn. The colonel knelt beside the makeshift bed of hay where Ellis lay. He examined the clean dressing and the pale but stable soldier, looking from Ellis to the small, exhausted girl standing beside him. The officer's stern face soft. "Son," he said to Ellis, "you owe your life to this young lady." Clara offered a faint smile, the adrenaline finally leaving her. He just needed a little light, she said softly. Weeks turned into months. The armies moved on, and a quiet, somber peace returned to the Thompson farm. The fields began to heal, and life slowly found its rhythm again. Then one morning, the postwriter delivered a letter, its envelope sealed with blue wax. It was from Private Ellis Carter, now recovering in a hospital in Washington. Clara carefully opened it. His neat handwriting filled the page. "Dear Miss Clara," it began, You found me when the world went dark. You were a light in the deepest shadow. I will never forget your courage. I hope someday you'll remember that even a small light can change everything. Clara kept that letter. Years space. Passé. She grew up, married, and raised a family of her own. The letter, framed and hanging on her wall, was a quiet reminder of that fateful night. When her children and grandchildren asked her what she did during the Great War, she wouldn't speak of battles or cannons. She would simply smile and say, "I carried a lantern." Her story serves as a timeless lesson, that even in the darkest chapters of our history, courage can spark a light. And sometimes, one small lantern, held by one brave soul, is enough to save a life and illuminate the path for others. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories of courage and hope. We'll see you next time.